What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to have kind of just a final thoughts type video on Ghost of Yotei. It has been kind of nuts. It's been an insane last couple of weeks. I mean, I went through the whole game, and I didn't rush myself. I enjoyed the ride, enjoyed the journey. I like the destination as well, and, I platinumed the game, and we've made, so many videos on it. I feel good. I feel really, really good, and very confident in my ability, of what I've been able to do with Ghost on the channel. But I want to talk about that just a little bit, but also, just kind of wrap it up in terms of all of this arguing and all of this, back and forth that it's online. I want to say it's exhausting, but to be honest with you, I really feel like I want to say to myself that I've grown as a person, and I just don't take things as seriously anymore. And I really do believe that. I think it's healthier for me. I feel better about it because I think a couple years ago, even going back 3, 4, 5 years, I think so many of these games have these kind of problems, on social media, and I feel like I would have handled it differently just half a decade ago. But that's what happens, I think, when you get older, and when you've done this like almost 11 years, you're just kind of tired of it, which is kind of where I'm at. So look, okay, my thoughts, I guess, let's start there, and then we'll kind of say our goodbyes to Ghost of Yotei, at least right now. Look, I plan on covering Legends when it comes out next year. I'm so freaking excited for that. Ghost of Tsushima Legends was awesome, and this game, I think, has just a little bit more complexity with the gameplay and slightly harder, and so I think Legends is going to freaking rock. And then I do think this game's going to get DLC, and I'll be covering that as well, whether people like it or not. I'll be covering it as well on the channel. So in terms of the controversy stuff, I mean, just to kind of put that to bed forever, really, unless something massive happens and I want to come back to it, I reserve the right to make another video. Just I can make my own rules here. I feel like these kind of conversations have, and maybe that's another thing with this, maybe it's not necessarily me that's changed, although I do think I have changed, but I also think it's the way people talk about these things that have changed, because I feel like it is so, because I'm not great with the English language, okay? I have a very basic dictionary, in my head of the words I use, but it's just so surface level. People have their narratives, people have what they want to say, even if it's not even backed up by anything. People will say what they want. And here's the thing, and that's something I don't think has changed with me or the channel in any of these years. If you notice, I probably should block far more than I do, because I don't block at all. I probably should, because there's people that I think are just here just to be nasty, and even nasty to me. And I probably should handle that at some point in my life. But for now, I want people to be able to say what they want to say, and with the ability also for me to clap back or for other people to clap back. And that's something I do think has stayed consistent, but it's something I've realized, I think, whether it's me getting older, whether it's me being around so long, or whether it getting tired of it, whatever it might be. But I just feel like these conversations are getting dumber. I mean, that's really what I want to say, so why don't I just say it? Again, you have the right to say what you want, but when the main argument, so you really go to the sales, right? The sales are the biggest thing. I mean, there was the employee at Sucker Punch, that was a big thing. Atsu's actress obviously was a big thing, but I really think so much of that, I mean, it all plays a part, but so much of it has really taken a back seat the last couple weeks to made up sales. You have people just online just saying, hey, I have the sales, even though they don't have the sales, right? They'll say it anyway. And now you have people jumping all over the place. Well, they did have sales, and now, the game's actually doing better than they thought. So it's a mess, and ultimately it's just to push a narrative. It is crazy to me that the main argument with the sales thing is don't believe Circana, when if you know the industry, which I'm just a person sitting in a living room, okay? But I have been around the internet for a while. I've had a channel for a while, and I try to get better at this, by the way. I'm not just sitting here, just spewing things with no idea what I'm doing and staying there for my entire life. I think I was like that, by the way, at a certain point. But I try to learn, and what you learn, I think, if you actually go out and do it, this is just the official stuff. This used to be NPD. If you remember NPD, these are the sales. These are people this is a company that collects these things from the publishers, and they have the numbers. Now, I've said before, that Matt Piscatella, and he kind of goes wild, and so I'm not going to defend him as an individual every single time, but he sees it. He literally sees the numbers, and it's just interesting. It's always, I think, double-sided. People, if it serves your side, you'll believe it. If it doesn't serve your side, you won't believe it. And so you'll have people that are doubting official sales of the game. But then, if Stellar Blade appeared there, of course they wouldn't doubt that, right? If Stellar Blade was number one, which I'm sure it was, I mean, I'm sure we actually covered it on the channel, right? If Circana put Stellar Blade in the top 15 for the entire year, you would just believe it, because guess what? That's just the fact. It did whatever it did. And what I'm trying to say, I'm choosing Stellar Blade. I mean, pick whichever game you want, but what side does it serve? You know what I mean? It's just, to me, it's ridiculous that so much, especially this last couple days, really, the main argument is PlayStation won't reveal the sales, so it tanked. And it's like, well, PlayStation doesn't really reveal any sales anymore. And to be honest, it is becoming more and more rare. And I don't like that. I've said that actually multiple times. I'm not really defending it. I'm not a huge fan of that lack of transparency, but it's not an anomaly. That's kind of my point. It's not, oh, well, they're not saying it, so there must be an issue. Nobody really says it anymore. Like, Konami's done it, so that actually they are the outlier. But really, companies have become more and more quiet with that stuff. And again, I'm not a fan of that, but that's just the way that it is. So using that as an argument, I don't think is good. And then just saying, well, I don't believe the sales. They're hiding it. Or, like, just because they don't say the numbers, but they put it in the chart, that means that it did bad. Like, this has been the way that it is for like 20 plus years. And again, if a game that they liked were on that list, they wouldn't even think twice. It's just part of a stat, which, guess what? That's what Ghost of Yotei is. It's just part of a stat. You don't have to like it. It doesn't mean the game, it has to be amazing because it sold good. But to say that, I think, is a factual, true statement. It sold good. On top of, we're not talking about a game that needs to sell 10 million units. Ghost of Yotei was made for 60, 70 million, only needs to sell a couple million units in order for that thing to make money. And it's going to do it, my friends. I'm telling you right now, whether you like it or not. So, I don't know, and that's the specifics, I think, to the sales, to the entire thing. It really, I think, just gets summed up with people are very, again, like, surface level. Nobody really wants to have a conversation. That actually is what kind of bores me with this stuff. To be honest, like, I'll respond here and there, and I'll leave a heart every so often, in comments. But if you notice, I'm not really active too much in the comments of my own videos, and it's because, at least some of them, some videos I'm very active. But, when it comes to, like, these kinds of back and forth, people are just so, like, they don't want to have a conversation. I want to. Here's the thing. When people call me shills, or when people say, that people will just make up things that I say, which is pretty funny because I talk so much, but then people still have to add things, so because I say so many words, but people have to add more words to make, it align to their narrative. But, like, I want to talk about the game. I did a review. I did a spoiler cast because I wanted to have, like, a half an hour freaking talk on the specifics. I don't even know how many people that do that online, by the way. I want to pat myself on the back on that, by the way, because I just feel I really enjoy doing those, and I just don't see a lot of other people doing it. And it just gives us a chance to talk. And for those that, like, complain so much, that's like, I'm talking about it. You want to get into the nitty freaking gritty of what actually happened in the story. I did that. It's not like I'm just saying, oh, the game's great, but I'm a shill. Sony paid me. I didn't get the code. I've never gotten paid actually a dime on anything of these things. I didn't even get a code for Ghost of Yotei. So, that just makes me laugh nowadays. And I feel good about that, because I think it would have bothered me 5 years ago. Nowadays, it doesn't mean anything because, well, none of it's true, I guess. And then none of it is, like, nobody wants to go in depth anymore. People see I made a video on Atsu and say, oh, well, you're just defending the actress. I didn't bring her up at all. I don't care about the actress whatsoever. I care about Atsu as a character. And again, in that video, I did a 10, 15-minute video talking about her as a character and why I actually think she's better than some people think she is. And I went into the nitty-gritty of it. So, I don't know, like, that's what I like doing. Okay, nowadays, especially the last, I'd say 2-3 years, I feel really good about it all. I did it for Final Fantasy. I've done it for a lot of different games. I'll talk about specific characters. I'll do the spoiler cast, and just gives me time to kind of flesh it out. That's what I want to do. Okay, that's my kind of purpose here, I feel, is to actually talk about the game, and then to actually kind of get pretty deep. I'm not out there writing like 5-hour video essays. There's definitely people that do it longer than me or is capable, but I feel like I do it on a lot lot of games more than the average YouTuber, to be honest. So like that's, I don't know, and I just say that to say, like, you know, for those that think I'm so, you know, I'm the shill, or I'm just believing this or believing that, like, you know, I'm actually out here talking about it, and I feel good. I feel good about what I did with Ghost of Yotei. I'm not, here's the thing too, I'm not really bothered by any of it. Like, I'm making a video, but look, I want to talk. Like if you haven't noticed, you know, I like to talk and I can't shut up. And, you know, and that's kind of also what I'm here for. You know, I want to make videos that I want to make. And I think that's also what people don't get nowadays. It's like, oh, well, you made an Atsu video so that, you know, maybe you got paid for that, or maybe you're trying to defend. Why are you defending the game? Well, I like the game. I like the character. I have a YouTube channel. I like to make videos, and I like to do these breakdowns. Like, it's almost like people don't understand, like, there is, like, passion, you know, passion in people's lives for certain things, even though they claim, by the way, they're so passionate, yet they play next to nothing, or whatever the case might be for some of these people. So I don't know. Like, for me, I think I've done my part. I feel really good about the videos that I made. And I've done, by the way, it's not just specifically for Ghost of Yotei. I've done videos like this on like 400 different games. So I feel good about that too. And in terms of the controversy stuff, yeah, I mean, honestly, 4 years ago, it would have bothered me quite a bit. But nowadays, I think it's just getting old. You know, people don't want to go like deeper in it. And I've always said, and it's not to say you can't have criticism. It's just what I find so often. It's not everybody. I think I used to say things like, people should really stop leaving certain kinds of comments. I think as time has gone on, it's honestly become just more and more like that. Like, you don't want to have conversations. You just want to say, well, Atsu's the main character, so that makes it bad. I mean, if you leave it there, it just comes off, and it can come off a certain way. I guess here's another thing, though, that I'll say in terms of my own philosophy and how I read it now, you know, as I'm getting older. When I see those comments, I just don't care. You know what I mean? If somebody says, well, Atsu's actress is this, I don't care. Or Atsu is a girl, we're tired of playing as girls. When I see that, you can label them. I think actually that is largely what has happened. And what that ultimately does, though, to me, I kind of skip that step. It just becomes, okay, your opinion, you can leave your opinion. If you notice, I leave those up. I probably shouldn't even leave those comments up, to be real with you, but I leave them up. But it means nothing, because like those people I don't take seriously whatsoever, because it's like, again, if you can tell, and I don't think these people can tell, but if you can tell, like, I'm here to kind of have more impactful conversations than that. If I did that, it would be a 10-second video, whereas I may, you know, like I said, I think the spoiler cast is a good example. You know, when you can talk for 25 minutes about all these individual aspects of it, I hope you can tell, like, the care that I have, you know, or at least I'm paying attention, right? But when you have people saying, well, just because of this, then it's that. It's so surface level that it doesn't even matter to me. And I don't even, to be honest, like, I really don't label the people anymore. I just think it doesn't matter. I'm skipping that comment. You know, I'm not, half the time, actually way more than half the time, I don't even respond to it, you know? So I don't know. I feel good about what I did. I made a lot of videos on Ghost, but to those that say, oh, you made so many videos on Ghost, I mean, have you paid attention to the channel? I've made like 400 Scream videos. I make videos on what I'm passionate on and what kind of is reoccurring, okay? And Ghost is reoccurring. So, again, I'll be covering Legends. I'm really excited for that. Ghost of Yotei is one of my favorite games of the year, so you can bet your bottom dollar that come the end of the year, when I do my Game of the Year awards, which I'm so freaking pumped for, by the way, Ghost of Yotei is going to be on that list, on my top list, and then in my Game of the Year awards specifically. So thank you all for watching these. I think, you know, in terms of, if they say, hey, it sold 5 million, I'll probably make a quick video, you know, on that. But for now, in terms of these deep dives that I've done the last couple of days, I think I'm done. I feel good. And I wouldn't normally say that for any other game. Like, I stopped Silent Hill F, right? I made like freaking 20 plus videos on Silent Hill F. I kind of just stopped. I'll make a Silent Hill video when things happen. I didn't really say goodbye to it, you know, in this way, but I kind of want, you know, almost a summary. I wanted to, you know, kind of just get my thoughts out there on the controversy and the game itself. I really love the game, and I feel like it distracts. You know, all these kind of things also distract. The game's freaking phenomenal, I'm telling you. And by the way, again, I didn't get paid to say that, and I didn't even get the freaking code. In fact, if you can call me the biggest idiot on planet Earth, because I paid them, you know, I paid them, and then I'm still shilling for them, if you want to say those words. So I don't know. I'll be be around to cover future Ghost things, and like I said, there's sales and stuff. But for now, I'm done with that, and I'm also done. I know some people kind of get tired. The people that are actually around that have like deeper thoughts, I don't think they want 20 videos on the drama stuff. I used to do it, I think, more often, and I still will. You know, if there's something that comes up that I'm into, I'm gonna cover it because I'm just kind of an honest guy like that. But I'm not gonna make like 20 more drama videos for Ghost of Yotei, and I'm not really making any of these, by the way, with drama being like the defining, like, oh, I'm gonna milk it, you know, or I'm gonna do it because it's drama. I'm doing it because it's in, you know, ultimately I do the videos because they're interesting. If a video is not interesting to me, I don't record the video, because I make like 35 videos a week. I try to pick the ones I'm interested in. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.